It's 14 days to the presidential and National Assembly elections, and a lot is going on in the polity. Today is 10th of February, my birthday. But it's been made even more popular this year as the initial deadline for CBN's Naira note swap before the Supreme Court intervention. The National Council of State also met today on the issues and to prefer solutions ahead the election. That and the closure of universities ahead the general election are the talking points on the show. Thank you for joining us. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Remember to use the hashtag TVC Countdown 2023 to join the conversation live. President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday chaired the National Council of State meeting where he addressed the current crisis confronting Naira redesign and the currency swap. In attendance were former President Goodluck Jonathan and former heads of state Yakubu Gowon and Abdulsalami Abubakar. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo also joined virtually. Also present at the chamber is the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, the President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila. The Chairman of INEC, Mahmoud Yakubu, briefed the Council on the preparations for the elections.
As far as election is concerned, and we are happy with the level of preparation by INEC and the institutions. And then two, relating to the Naira redesign policy, the policy stands, but then the council agreed that there is need for aggressive action on the part of the central bank as it relates to as it relates to the implementation of the policy by way of ensuring adequate provision being made with particular regard to the supply of the Naira in the system.
The views across board is that principally the policy is accepted. Just like any new policy or any new change, at the beginning people resist it, even though it's good. But generally it's accepted. But the major issue across board from all the states and most of the speakers is that of implementation. And so many views were proffered, particularly that the CBN governor should look into making sure that money is available, the new money is available in quantum. And there were suggestions too that if the new money is not in circulation or printing them could be difficult, the old money that hasn't been changed could be recirculated and pumped into circulation to ease the tension, particularly for the poor people in our society who just need a little sum of money to buy their food, buy their drugs for daily basis, and they cannot even afford it.
So the Council of State, their complete readiness and their state of readiness to ensure that the two elections of 25th February and 11th March, they are fully ready. Is given assurances that everything that they require, they have. And even in places where there's been a few disruptions, that they are convinced that they can bounce back. And specific mention were made of one or two places where they said they've recovered and that they've given the country assurance that everything that needs to be done to have the election at the set date are on track.
Now let's talk to State House correspondent Femi Akode to get more details about the resolutions at the Council of State meeting today. Hi Femi, two issues before the Council of State today: INEC's preparation for election and the redesigned Naira note. Let's begin with the first one. What's the Council of State advice on this election?
Well, the Council of State just wanted to hear from the Independent National Electoral Commission to know its level of preparedness to conduct the general election, a very critical election in Nigeria's democracy. And, this will be the biggest general election, the one with the highest number of registered voters, more than 93 million, the highest number of registered voters since Nigeria's foray into democracy in 1999. So the Council of State was interested in knowing what INEC has done, how they have been able to dot their I's and cross their T's, and also their level of collaboration with critical stakeholders like the police, who would provide primary security for the election, the military and other security agencies that would also be supporting to ensure that the environment is peaceful and conducive for the conduct of the polls. But you know, they gave INEC a pass mark after listening to the presentation from the chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu. He was there alongside with national commissioners of the commission. The Inspector General of Police also briefed to talk about the readiness of the police force, told the Council of State about deployment and logistics of moving police officers from one point to the other, how they are going to secure the voting area, how they will be on ground before, during, and after the election to ensure that there is no breakdown of law and order within this period when the registered voters will go to the polls to decide who leads the country into the next democratic dispensation. So they were, to a large extent, satisfied with the preparedness of INEC, but they would also like INEC to keep the momentum. 14 days to the general election, they would like INEC to continue with that momentum and ensure that on the D-Day, they do not drop the ball, because, you know, we have foreign and domestic observers, even the international community is watching to see how Nigeria will play that leadership role in Africa and indeed in the region in West Africa, and how Nigeria conducts its election. Nifemi.
Just a minute, Femi. We're interrupting our live programming with a live coverage right now. Remember that this program continues on every other platform. Femi, it would seem that the Council of State is supporting the CBN Naira redesign, but we understand that they have shown some concerns as to its implementation. What are the options that they are laying before the table for the executive?
Yes, indeed, Nifemi. The option on the table this time is for more of the new currency notes to be printed and widely circulated. And they say if the CBN, the Apex Bank, has a problem with printing more currencies, more new notes, then the old notes that they have mopped up, some of it should be injected back into the system. It should be widely circulated. Nigerians are cash-strapped. They are concerned about the trader in the market who can no longer get money to buy goods. The old, aged, and vulnerable people who just need cash to buy drugs, school children who need cash to take to school and all of that. You know, there's a whole lot of lack of access to cash and its impact on the economy, especially the informal economy. So just like every other person, the Council of State is also concerned about this, and they have advised the CBN to ensure that there's cash in circulation. You know, the CBN is trying to mop up the old currency, but they have not been able to sufficiently replace this old currency with the new currency note. We do not also know how much of the new currency has been printed. The Central Bank of Nigeria has not been able to provide that information, even when officials of the Central Bank went to the House of Representatives and they were asked how much was printed. They could not provide that information to the House of Representatives ad hoc committee on the redesign of the Naira note. So, you know, all of this has further complicated the implementation of this policy of the central bank. And what the Council of State is saying is that indeed it's a good policy. Everyone agrees it's a good policy. The policy should have come as early as even yesterday, but you know, coming at a time when the implementation is faulty, in a few weeks to the election, and Nigerians also have a whole lot of issues to grapple with, is what the Council of State frowns at. Nifemi.
Absolutely. The position of the Council of State, Femi, aligns with that of every other stakeholder, including the governors, even the ruling of the Supreme Court that has asked that the old notes continue to be legal tender till 15th of February. But I'm just curious to know if we're going to hear from the president. Recall that he asked for a 7-day grace to make a decision on this matter. Are we still hoping to hear from Mr. President, or all attention will now turn to the Supreme Court?
Well, we are likely to hear from the president on this matter, but the attorney general refused to speak much about the deadline. It says the case is already in court, so it's left for the court to decide on the matter. But you know, Mr. President asked for 7 days. The Council of States is just an advisory organ that can only advise the executive arm of government on policy making. Well, their advice is not binding on the president. It is still, the buck still stops on the table of the president to either take the advice or take some other decision. So we are waiting to hear from the president to see if he will prevail on the Central Bank of Nigeria to maybe shift the deadline or an outright cancellation of this policy, because Mr. President himself has acknowledged and understands that this policy has caused untold hardship for a lot of Nigerians. He understands that the economy has been bad, the informal sector, the economy of the informal sector has been badly affected by this policy. Mr. President understands that well. So it is left for him to look at the information on his table, put all of that together, and then make an informed decision on the matter. And if any.
We're hearing that over 2 trillion naira of the old note have already been mopped out from the public, and we are going to wait to see how the federal government and the CBN respond in time. But talk to us, Femi, about the current situation with fuel scarcity in Abuja, where you are. I had heard someone say that it's getting better in Abuja. Is that something you can confirm?
Well, it depends on how you look at it. You know, you can drive through some petrol stations and you think it's getting better. And then you go to another petrol station and discover that, well, the queues are even getting longer. What we are having is the product is not also very much available at most of the petrol stations. And even some of the petrol stations that have the product have also jacked up their price. What the regulatory agencies are doing to ensure that, marketers and people handling all of this petroleum product do not exploit Nigerians is what people are still talking about, because they say that even from the Ministry of Petroleum, the NNPC Limited and all of that they are not doing enough. But again, the NNPC will tell you that, well, the NNPC has metamorphosed into a business venture, and there is nothing much they can do to prevail on all of these marketers to ensure that there is a stable or a uniform price regime across the country. But, you know, the situation, especially in Abuja, is beginning to ease out in Abuja. But when you go up north, it is quite still very severe in some of the northern states, especially when you go up northwest and even the northeast, you'll see the fuel queues are still very visible at petrol stations and even causing gridlock on major roads within northern Nigeria. Ifemi.
State House correspondent Femi Akande, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us on the program this evening.